Russia's actions recently in the Ukraine are detrimental to European safety and security and cannot go without repercussions.
In the words of Danish Foreign Minister Martin Lidegaard, Rusland har invaderet Ukraine. Russia has invaded Ukraine, and this is a blatant violation of international law.
Strong recourse must be taken in order to prevent Russian expansion.
Admitting Ukraine to NATO is the first step towards solving this crisis and ending this conflict.
Russia has said they will consider Ukraine an enemy if we invite them to NATO.
Offering NATO membership to Ukraine right now would be a completely rash action.
We believe that military action is not the right way to solve this problem.
The Republic of Bulgaria does not believe that military action is necessary in this case. We hope to end this conflict through peaceful means.
If Crimea wants to secede from Ukraine, that is a conflict between Crimea and Ukraine, not Russia.
Russia needs the European Union a lot more than the European Union needs Russia.
We cannot refuse to acknowledge the economic impacts.
Russia's status as a threat to NATO is clear, but at the same time, we must respect their status as a vital economic ally to every single country in this room. Many countries are also dependent on Russia for energy and oil.
If Russia has a very strong reaction to this, our economies may be in a lot of trouble.
We'd like to stress the need for maintaining a ceasefire in that region in order to promote long-term peace.
The only way to solve this problem is through diplomacy and talks.
Russia is clearly the aggressor here. All evidence points to the fact that Russia has invaded Denmark and is currently responsible for most of the unrest currently going on in the eastern part of the country.
To put some affirmative action to show what they're doing is not okay.
Furthermore, it is our goal to maintain Euro-Atlantic security, global security, and peace throughout the world. That is what we have evolved to do as NATO. That is what we must do. That is our goal.
You're being ignorant of the fact that there is a large population in Ukraine that speaks Russian, that leans towards Russia, that is Russian.
If they did meet EU standards and had applied for EU membership, then that should be a qualifying, that should qualify them for NATO membership.
Some of the things we're talking about is possibly having a designated amount of time of ceasefire between Russia and Ukraine.
Can't necessarily consider that the ceasefire would be effective, considering the last one didn't last nearly as long and was not as effective.
Russia has actually made it clear that they are not the aggressor and that anything going on within Ukraine is done by parties independent of the Russian government, and petitioning them for a ceasefire would immediately be rejected because they don't believe that they're at all at war.
5. Establishes the NATO-Ukrainian mission, NUM, which similarly to the ISAF mission in Afghanistan will A. Train counterinsurgency forces in eastern Ukraine, B. Instruct local police forces on maintaining social order.
Ask questions about things you don't understand or you want to draw attention to.
How do you expect to unite the population of Ukraine who is so divided amongst their ethnic lines?
With stable government terms, that will be a result of a more unified population.
They would be forced to leave if they stopped following any of these criteria. Is that true?
If they fail to meet those, whatever the precedence is for kicking a country out of NATO, that takes precedence.
All of those wishing to ask questions to document 1.3.
What makes your working paper so tangible?
We have many specific solutions, such as specific sanctions, specific approaches with regard to energy security.
You're teaching her to fire tear gas at protesters. That could exacerbate the situation, could it not?
The whole point of training counterinsurgency is to enhance stability in the region rather than favor a side over the other.
So these are working papers, which are, as I said, serve as sort of your preliminary introduction to the committee of your ideas, of your stance on the topic, what you want to do. And you guys did a great job of that. You still need to make your working paper stronger than it is now in order for it to be considered a draft resolution.
You don't have any obligations to ban swift if you feel like that will unnecessarily antagonize Russia.
We believe and are very scared that Russia may in fact perceive this as a military intervention.
Just because actions of this honorable organization may upset Russia does not always mean it will have a direct effect on your economy.
This is a great opportunity. If you're an author, please tell us about them. If you're a signatory, talk about what made you sign on to this document.
Expand what we discussed in terms of sanctions and energy security.
We have reached somewhat of a turning point in this meeting with regards to solutions to come.
Is there anything that you guys are saying that you'll actually do?
To the extent that NATO as a body has the ability to enforce things, we will. This will discourage Russia from continuing to fuel the conflict with guns, troops, and tanks.
1. Maintaining NATO troops in Eastern Europe with the purpose of demonstrating to aggressors the alliance's determination to protect its member nations. The message is that we are not technically violating the treaty that we have with Russia. They're not active forces. These are just troops training.
Just so that we can have that immediate action. It's not any sign of actual aggression towards Russia.
This resolution does not deal with what we'll do if we take military action. This resolution deals with everything that we can do to make sure we don't need to take military action.
So I'm gonna, at my discretion, have a 5-minute unmod. At the end of those 5 minutes, we will then entertain a motion to introduce all the amendments.
Point to a specific group that's judging this.
This is a lot of section 1 times sub-clause.
Okay, I will vote for the amendments, and if they are all passed, I will abstain from the resolution.
That's great. 1 for, 1 against vote on each amendment, and then for the draft resolution as a whole, it's 2 for, 2 against vote.
Russia could cut off their gas and pipelines to Ukraine, which would leave them freezing and have no way to survive.
This resolution reinvigorates Ukrainian infrastructure. It implements aid. It implements a system of federalism.
Does not speak for everyone, does not comprehensively address all the issues, and it should not be passed.
This clause allows us to basically stop violence or do what we can to end violence in Ukraine immediately.
Estonia.
Yes.
France.
Yes.
Germany.
Yes.
Greece.
Abstain.
Hungary.
Abstain.
Lithuania.
Yes.
Italy.
Pass.
Spain.
Yes.
Turkey.
Yes.
UK.
Yes.
USA.
Yes.
With a vote of 17 to 6, this document passes.
We need to customize it so that each, what the spending is for is not necessarily on only one thing.
So while it's possible to merge draft resolutions, you really want to do your mergers in the working paper stage. It's a lot easier that way. But when you come to draft resolutions, you can amend those, and we'll walk through that process before we get there.
I feel like you can't be expected to reside comfortably at a number that's not equally equivalent to any other country.
But 2% doesn't take into account things like your military exports. France, for example, exports a lot.
We need a group of people, economists and military analysts, that can actually, realistically evaluate the capabilities of each country and the needs of each country on a case-by-case basis.
Luxembourg worked with nations like Slovakia on crafting a working paper that slightly alters the GDP standards. So it gives nations more flexibility in how they craft their military.
It is important that NATO become an adaptable organization and an organization that can keep up and stay modern and react rapidly.
All those in favor? This motion passes.
What do you expect that then was debunked?
NATO's policy, if you vote no, then the entire thing is vetoed, which was kind of like a security council where everybody has veto power, and that definitely affected everything.
Yeah, it is a military alliance, and notice how the different voting requirements change people's behavior inside of committees. This is definitely something to think about for the future.
It was really interesting for me and helpful to kind of learn and hear the advice from the chairs about how to actually write a good resolution and just to go through the whole process of amendments.
There's a lot of opposition, a lot of heated arguments in this debate. That is the measure of a good debate. So, great work, everyone. And that is over.
All right. Woo.